Arizona was supposed to be the promised land. For a decade, and especially in the 3 years 2020 to 2022, the narrative was unshakable. Phoenix was the fastest-growing large city in America. Maricopa County was adding tens of thousands of residents every year. Californians were streaming in by the hundreds of thousands, bringing their equity, their remote work paychecks, and their willingness to pay prices that Arizona residents had never imagined paying for their own homes. Investors flooded in behind them. Builders could not pour foundations fast enough. And then the conditions that built that narrative started to change. Mortgage rates doubled. The remote work boom peaked, and employers started calling workers back. The Canadian buyers who had long anchored Arizona's luxury market, representing a significant share of purchases in some Phoenix suburbs, collapsed 43% year-over-year in Maricopa County, reduced to just 27% of all buyers according to the Arizona Realtors 2025 annual data. The investors who had piled into Phoenix began pulling back, with institutional investor purchases falling sharply throughout 2025 according to Redfin's national investor data. And the numbers that resulted from all of that are now showing up in city after city across the Phoenix metro area. Arizona ranked as the state with the second highest home price decrease of all 50 states from August 2024 to August 2025, trailing only Florida. According to analysis by Cinch Home Services using Zillow data, the Cromford Market Index, the most authoritative measure of Phoenix metro housing demand, showed demand running 19% below normal as of March 2025. Active listings across Arizona hit their highest level since 2016 with 48,344 homes for sale statewide by June 2025, up 7% year-over-year. And at the city level, the level that matters most to the people who live in these communities and own these homes, the deflation is no longer a forecast. It is a fact already visible in the data. Today, Discover the States is going city by city through 10 communities inside the greater Phoenix metro area, where that deflation is most clearly and most alarmingly present. Not the cities holding steady. Not the cities where luxury demand from wealthy relocators is keeping prices elevated. The 10 Phoenix area cities that are feeling the deflation first, and feeling it hardest. City number 10, Goodyear. Goodyear sits at the edge of Phoenix's western expansion, one of the communities that grew fastest during the pandemic era as buyers sought more space, newer homes and lower prices than the urban core could provide. And in 2025, Goodyear is paying the price for that growth. According to the Cromford Market Index analysis published in October 2025 by Arizona real estate analyst Miles Zimbaluk, Goodyear is classified as a confirmed buyer's market, one of a cluster of western Phoenix suburbs where buyer leverage has reached its highest level in years. Goodyear's demand index was among the cities, showing the most significant shift toward buyers across the entire metro. The As Big Media report on Arizona Realtors' 10-month 2025 data confirmed the trajectory in specific numbers. Goodyear's median sale price declined 2% year-over-year to $475,000 as of October 2025. The average number of days on market increased 3% year-over-year, reaching 75 days. New listings surged 9%, while the pace of absorption failed to keep up. The mechanism driving Goodyear's softening is the same one operating across most of Phoenix's outer ring. Builders kept building new construction communities, and Goodyear continued producing spec homes, fully completed, unsold inventory sitting in neighborhoods that were selling almost instantly just 2 years ago. By summer 2025, builders across Phoenix's western suburbs were offering rate buydowns as low as 3.99% to 4.99% for qualified buyers just to move that inventory, according to the June 2025 Arizona Market Report. Paying to reduce buyers' effective mortgage rates, because without the incentive, the buyers were not showing up at the prices the builders needed to hit. Goodyear homeowners who purchased during the 2021-2022 peak and now need to sell are not competing against other sellers. They are competing against builders who have fresher inventory and bigger incentive budgets. That is the equation that buyers' market data captures in one number, and in Goodyear, that number keeps moving in one direction. City number 9, Surprise. Surprise, Arizona carries one of the most optimistic names of any city in the Phoenix metro. In 2025, that optimism is running into the numbers. Surprise is confirmed as a buyer's market by the Cromford Market Index, part of the cluster of western Phoenix suburbs, alongside Goodyear, Buckeye, Peoria, and Maricopa, where inventory has built up fastest and buyer leverage has grown sharpest. According to the October 2025 Arizona Market Report, Surprise's median sale price slipped 2% year-over-year to $435,000. That number sounds modest, but the context around it is not. Surprises housing stock skews heavily toward two buyer demographics that are both under significant pressure in 2025. The first is the retirement and active adult community market. Sun City Grand and similar developments that attract buyers from colder states. The second is the first-time and move-up buyer demographic seeking more affordable options on the western edge of the metro. Both groups are rate-sensitive. Both are feeling the sustained impact of 5% plus mortgage rates on their purchasing calculus. The result? In neighborhoods where the pandemic era produced bidding wars with 10 or more competing offers, Surprise is now seeing homes sit 60 to 75 days or longer. Sellers who priced at or above their 2022 comparables are being pushed, month by month, price reduction by price reduction, toward the market clearing price that the 2025 buyer population can actually support. The surprise is not that prices are falling. The surprise for the people who bought at peak in surprise is how long they have been falling and how much further the data suggests they may go. City number 8, Queen Creek. Queen Creek represents a particular kind of housing market stress. The stress of a market that was genuinely growing, genuinely attracting buyers, genuinely building a community that built too many homes, too fast, for the rate environment it ended up inheriting. According to Redfin's data as of August 2025, Queen Creek homes were taking an average of 93 days to sell, 17 days longer than the same period in the prior year, a nearly 22% increase in average selling time. Median list price sitting at $18,000 while buyers were negotiating to something meaningfully below it. The Cromford Market Index classified Queen Creek as a buyer's market, one of the cities shifting most aggressively toward buyer leverage across the metro, alongside Tempe and Goodyear. According to the March 2025 Phoenix Market Update, the specific Queen Creek dynamic that produces that result new construction, builders in Queen Creek continued building through 2023 and 2024, producing inventory homes, fully completed, move-in ready spec houses that are now competing directly with resale sellers. And builders have something resale sellers cannot match: the ability to buy down mortgage rates to 3.99% to 4.99% for qualified buyers, effectively subsidizing the monthly payment to a level that makes the purchase pencil for rate-sensitive buyers. A resale seller in Queen Creek who bought at the 2022 peak cannot match a builder offering to cut 250 basis points off the effective mortgage rate. They can only compete on price. And competing on price means accepting less than they paid. Queen Creek's homes are still selling, but they are selling slowly, at prices that reflect the leverage the buyer now holds, not the panic the seller felt when they purchased at the peak. City number 7, Buckeye. Buckeye is the furthest flung of Phoenix's major western suburbs, a city that added residents at extraordinary speed during the pandemic era by offering one thing the closer-in suburbs could not: affordable. In 2021 and 2022, a buyer priced out of Goodyear or Surprise could find a new home in Buckey's growing subdivisions for a price that still made financial sense. In 2025, the affordability that made Buckeye attractive has its own floor, and that floor is being tested. According to Redfin's September 2025 data, Buckeye home prices were down 4% year-over-year, with a median sale price of $400,000. Homes were selling in an average of 67 days. The Cromford Market Index placed Buckeye in confirmed buyer's market territory, one of the cities where buyer leverage is highest and seller concession rates are among the most elevated across the metro. But the 4% price decline is only part of the Buckeye story. The other part is a risk metric that is appearing in housing market data with increasing frequency, and that will reshape where American buyers choose to purchase over the next decade. According to First Street Foundation climate risk data reported by Redfin, Buckeye is expected to see a 157% increase in the number of days over 114 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 30 years. Buckeye is expected to experience 18 days above 114 degrees annually by 2055. 97% of properties in Buckeye carry some wildfire risk. That is the number that forward-looking buyers are beginning to factor into 30-year decisions. A home that you plan to hold for 30 years in a community that will experience 18 days of 114-degree heat annually, combined with 97% wildfire exposure, is a different proposition than the same home purchased with the climate assumptions of 2018. Buckey's price decline and its buyer's market status are the present tense story. The climate risk trajectory is the long-term story, and increasingly, the buyers who have options are reading both. City number 6, Mesa. Mesa is the third largest city in Arizona and one of the most established communities in the East Valley. It does not fit the profile of an overbuilt outer ring suburb with a builder inventory problem. It has real job access, real infrastructure, and a real community that has existed for generations. And yet the data coming out of Mesa in 2025 is telling a story that even the most stable, established Phoenix area markets cannot escape. According to his Big Media's report on Arizona Realtors 10-month 2025 data, the average days on market in Mesa reached 68 days by October 2025, up 28.3% from 53 days in the same period in 2024, a nearly one-third increase in how long homes are sitting before they sell. Mesa's median sales price was essentially flat, declining a fractional 0.2% year-over-year to $490,000, but median price stability combined with a 28% increase in days on market tells a specific story. Sellers who priced at market are selling, but they are waiting nearly a third longer to find their buyer than they were in 2024. Those who priced above market are sitting, and eventually reducing. According to Zillow's May 2025 data, the average Mesa home value was $445,015, down 1.8% over the prior year. Nationwide over that same period, the median price rose 1.4%. Mesa underperformed the national average by 3.2 percentage points. In a market where buyers were already constrained by rate affordability, a market that trends opposite to the national direction is a market sending a signal. Mesa's Cromford Market Index classification was confirmed buyer's market or balanced market throughout 2025, with the Cromford data showing Mesa consistently in the weaker half of the Phoenix metro. For a city as established as Mesa, appearing repeatedly in the lower tier of the metro's demand index is not a headline any local real estate market wants to generate. City number 5, Peoria. Peoria's housing market in 2025 and early 2026 is producing numbers that belong in the section of a real estate report labeled alarming. According to Redfin's January 2026 data, the most current available homes in Peoria were taking an average of 87 days to sell, up from 71 days the year before, a 22.5% increase in average days on market. In a market where the standard measure of balance is roughly 30 days on market in a competitive environment, 87 days represents a market where the buyer genuinely holds the leverage. The price per square foot data is where the Peoria numbers become most stark. According to Redfin, Peoria's median sale price per square foot is down 8.7% year-over-year. The overall median sale price was down 0.57% to $535,000. But price per square foot, the metric that controls for the mix of home sizes being sold, fell 8.7%. That divergence between the headline median and the per square foot metric suggests that the decline in what buyers are paying for each unit of Peoria housing is more severe than the headline number alone reveals. The Cromford Market Index confirmed Peoria's buyer's market status throughout 2025. The October 2025 Arizona market report from Miles Zimbaluk named Peoria explicitly as one of the cities where buyer's market conditions were most pronounced. A buyer's market on the edges and outskirts of the metro area, where there is more new home development. As Big Media's 10-month 2025 data showed, Peoria's days on market up 20% year-over-year to 72 days through October 2025, with the median single-family price declining 1% to $529,000. The data from multiple sources, across multiple months, all points in the same direction. Peoria is a market where sellers are waiting longer, accepting less per square foot, and competing against a builder pipeline that is still adding supply to a market that cannot absorb it at current prices. City number 4, Scottsdale. Scottsdale is the market that Arizona real estate boosters point to when they want to explain why the broader Phoenix correction is not a crisis. The luxury relocators are still coming. Paradise Valley is still selling. The $1-2 million plus segment still has cash buyers. All of that is partly true, and it obscures a set of numbers that Scottsdale sellers need to read carefully. According to Redfin data from August 2025, Scottsdale's median sold price for single-family homes was $1,017, down 4% from $1,064,500 in August 2024. The average sold price fell 5.4% year-over-year to $1,355,616. Average days on market reached 86 days, up from 82 days the prior year. According to the June 2025 Arizona market report, Scottsdale's market strength index fell 8% in a single month, flagging it as one of the cities showing the most significant decline in market momentum across the entire metro. New listings in Scottsdale surged 8.5% year-to-date, while pending sales slumped 7.4% year-to-date. More supply, less demand simultaneously. The luxury segment is where the Scottsdale softening is sharpest. In September 2025, buyers of Scottsdale luxury homes priced above $1 million were paying approximately 95% of list price on average, a meaningful discount from the at or above list outcomes of 2021 and 2022. Scottsdale's months of inventory in the luxury segment rose to 18 in June 2025, a 42.5% increase over the prior 12 months. 8 months of luxury inventory, in a market where 5 to 6 months represents balance. Scottsdale is not collapsing, but the data is clear. A market where the median single-family sold price is down 4% year-over-year, where luxury inventory has grown 42.5%, where average sold prices fell 5.4%, and where market strength fell 8% in a single month, is not performing the way Scottsdale's brand promises. The sellers who bought at the 2022 luxury peak in North Scottsdale are discovering that the brand premium has limits, and that in 2025, the buyer is negotiating within those limits. City number 3, Tempe. Tempe is not what you picture when you picture a softening Phoenix suburb. It is dense, urban-adjacent, university-driven, close to the jobs of Central Phoenix and Chandler's tech corridor. It is not a distant exurb with a builder oversupply problem. And yet Tempe appears repeatedly in Phoenix metro data as one of the markets showing the most significant shift toward buyer conditions. The Cromford Market Index analysis from March 2025 named Tempe as one of the cities shifting most toward buyers across the entire metro, listed alongside Goodyear and Queen Creek as the markets where buyer leverage was advancing fastest. The June 2025 Arizona Market Report named Tempe as one of a cluster of cities showing significant weakening, alongside Gilbert and Cave Creek, in contrast to Scottsdale and Paradise Valley where seller conditions were more intact. The condo and townhome segment is where Tempe's data is most alarming. Maricopa County condos in the $250,000 to $300,000 range, the entry-level ownership segment most concentrated in urban-adjacent markets like Tempe, had fallen 15% below their 2022 peak by October 2025, according to the Cromford-based analysis reported by Miles Zimbaluk. That is not a slight softening. That is a 15% decline from the peak price in the most affordable ownership tier of the market. The condo success rate, the percentage of active listings that go under contract each month, fell to 58% in May 25, the lowest level since 2011, according to the June 2025 Arizona Market Report. Since 2011, the condo market in Tempe and across Maricopa County is producing the weakest transactional success rate in 14 years. Tempe buyers are winning, Tempe sellers are waiting, or, if they need to sell, accepting the price the 2025 buyer population is willing to pay. City number 2, Chandler. Chandler is the most alarming data point in the greater Phoenix metro. And it is alarming precisely because it should not be. Chandler is not an outer ring suburb with a builder oversupply problem. It is not a retirement community struggling with demographic headwinds. It is not an affordable entry market where rate sensitivity crushes buyer demand. Chandler is one of Phoenix's premier employment hubs, home to Intel's major Arizona semiconductor manufacturing campus, surrounded by technology employers and the high-earning workforce they attract. And yet, according to Redfin's December 2025 data, Chandler home prices were down 7.4% year-over-year, with a median sale price of $523,000. Days on market reached 62 days, up from 53 days the prior year, a nearly 17% increase in time to sell, 7.4% year-over-year in December 2025. That is the sharpest year-over-year price decline of any major city in the greater Phoenix metro area in Redfin's tracking. Not the outer ring suburbs with builder inventory pileups. Not the retirement-heavy communities facing demographic shifts. Chandler, the tech hub, the employer magnet. The suburb that was supposed to be insulated from the correction by the very real job growth happening within its borders. Zillow's data on Chandler put the average home value at $532,996, down 2.9% over the prior year, consistent with Redfin's directional finding. Downtown Chandler's median sale price posted an even more severe decline of 19.7% year-over-year in October 2025, according to Redfin's neighborhood-level data. The Chandler data carries implications well beyond Chandler itself. When the best-positioned employment suburb in the entire Phoenix metro, the one with the strongest reason to hold its value, is posting a 7.4% year-over-year price decline. It tells you something about the floor of the Phoenix market's correction. It tells you that fundamentals, jobs, income, employers, are not sufficient on their own to offset the weight of the rate environment and the supply that built up during the pandemic boom. When Chandler deflates, the argument that Phoenix fundamentals will prevent a broader correction loses its most credible evidence. City number 1, the Phoenix Metro. We have given you 9 cities, each with its own data, its own specific mechanism of deflation, its own particular expression of the broader pressure working through the Phoenix market. Now we zoom out to the metro level, because the number that sits above all 9 of those cities is the one that frames everything else. Arizona ranked second among all 50 states for home price declines from August 2024 to August 2025. Only Florida ranked worse, according to analysis by Cinch Home Services using Zillow data, reported by Phoenix New Times in January 2026. Second worst in the country. The metro-level data that produced that ranking, the Cromford Market Index, showed Phoenix demand running 19% below normal as of March 2025. Active listings across Arizona hit 48 in 2025, up 7% year-over-year, the highest inventory level since 2016. Nearly one-third of all active Arizona listings, 32.9% at price reductions by June 2025, up 8 percentage points from the year before. Only 14.1% of homes were selling above list price, down from the bidding war era when that figure routinely exceeded 50%. Seller concessions reached 56% of all Mel's closings in September 2025, meaning more than half of all Phoenix area home sales required the seller to pay something extra beyond the purchase price to close the deal. Rate buydowns, closing cost contributions, repair allowances. The median concession value was $10,000. Sellers were effectively paying buyers $10,000 at the median, on top of accepting the negotiated purchase price, just to get transactions to close. And the segment data tells the most alarming story of all. Condos and townhomes in Maricopa County in the $250,000 to $300,000 range, the market's most affordable ownership tier, are 15% below their 2022 peak. Single-family homes in Pinal County in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, the Outer Ring's most active price segment, are 15% below their 2020 peak and fell an additional 7% from April to October 2025 in 6 months alone. The Phoenix Metro's housing market is undergoing a deflation that is broad, documented, accelerating in some segments, and confirmed by data from Redfin, Zillow, the Cromford Market Index, Arizona REALTORS, and multiple independent market analysts. What is not happening is a 2008-style collapse. Let us be direct about that, as this channel always is. Phoenix is not producing mass foreclosures. Delinquency rates for FHA and conventional loans in Arizona remain well under 5%, historically low, according to the Cromford data from January 2026. Arizona remains one of the top relocation destinations in the country, with Phoenix as the second most popular destination for net in-migration among all major American metros between May and July 2025. The long-term fundamentals, job growth, population inflows, economic diversification, TX's $165 billion Arizona semiconductor investment, are real and they matter. But a market that ranked second worst in the nation for price declines, that has 24% more inventory than a year ago, that is paying buyers $10,000 concessions at the median just to close, that has seen condos fall 15% from their peak. That market is not operating on the assumptions that were used to price the homes that hundreds of thousands of Arizona buyers purchased between 2020 and 2022. The deflation is real. It is city-specific, segment-specific, and data-documented. And the 10 cities on today's list are where it is most clearly already happening. Bubbles do not announce themselves. They inflate quietly, sustained by the shared belief that what is happening will continue, that the buyers will keep coming, the prices will keep rising, and the assumptions that justified yesterday's price will justify tomorrow's price too. Arizona's housing bubble was built on conditions that were genuinely real: population growth, employment expansion, migration from high-cost states, a construction pipeline that was, for a time, barely keeping up with demand. The difference between a bubble and a sustainable market is not always visible until the conditions that created it change. In Arizona, the conditions changed. Rates doubled. Migration normalized. Investors retreated. Canadian buyers vanished. And the market that had been priced for permanently elevated demand found itself in a reckoning that is now measurable in every city's data. For the people who own homes in Chandler, in Peoria, in Tempe, in Scottsdale, in Goodyear, in Queen Creek, in Surprise, in Buckeye, in Mesa, this data is not abstract. It is the number that appears when you check your Zillow estimate. It is the days your neighbor's home has been sitting unsold. It is the price reduction notice that appeared on the listing 3 doors down. It is the seller concession your agent is now telling you to expect. The bubble is deflating. Not exploding, deflating. Slowly, measurably, city by city and segment by segment. And the floor, the price level where Phoenix's genuine long-term fundamentals can support stable demand, has not yet been found. Thank you for watching this report from Discover the States. If you own a home, or are considering buying in the greater Phoenix area, share this video and leave a comment with your city and what you are seeing in your neighborhood. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next.